Hey, good morning. Now then, welcome. This is the first webinar of 2017. My name is Ricky Patton, Director and a primary flight aficionado, you might say, here at DataBasics, and we're starting the 2017 webinar series with a webinar on Flight PHL release, which was released in December. PHL stands for Philadelphia. It's the airport code for Philadelphia. We're calling it Philly here, you know, it's sort of a bit of an Australian thing. I know back at the San Francisco office they call it PHL. It was released in December. All of our, and I can see we've got quite a few of our existing users will be having access to that portal now, and any of our new prospective users, because I can see there's about 3 people or so, would have been having a look at Flight PHL as well. Now then, just to check a few things. First of all, I'm going to send out a chat message and make sure that everybody can hear me properly. Now then, yep, everybody tells me, yep, they can hear me, and they're letting me know via the question and answer area. That's excellent. Yes, that was the other thing that I was going to point out. And as we go through the webinar, I'm quite an interactive person, so just pop up and ask questions as you go, and you'll see I can see all of the questions coming as they come along. I will, depending upon the question, depending upon how we're going, because I want to, as usual, wrap up these webinars in about 40 minutes. I will either answer the questions as we go along or save up the questions for later on towards the end. Now then, okay, good. Everybody seems to be good there. Now then, just to let you know, you can always see the different webinars available on our website. You can see our website, our blog showing at the moment. But so if you go to the home screen, you'll see you can go down to any of the different webinars. We typically run 3 webinars a quarter. We'll run one on flight, one on Cumulus, and one generic webinar. That we're already planning the generic webinar is for the FMCG, the Fast Moving Consumer Goods Marketplace. It's a speciality of the retail area, and we'll be extending the Dan for Retail webinar that we did last year to be specific for the FMCG marketplace. The Cumulus webinar, we will probably do it on the Uploader release. Uploader 2 is a product from DataBasics. It's an add-on to the Cumulus product. It is for specialized portal for uploading content, and that was released, well, it's going through final release. I think the final date is the 1st of February, and later on, maybe more like March, we'll be doing a webinar on Uploader. Okay then, so I think everybody's here. I can still see people dropping in as we go along, which is great. So I'm going to kick off now then. You can see I've got the webinar page here, or the blog page here. It's all about the new features in PHL Philly, and I'm going to be going through this. Now, you might want to open up this page in your browser just as a reference, just to keep track of where I'm going. It's more or less going to be in the same sequence. I'm not going to be jumping back to the blog page all the time, otherwise we'll just take a little bit too long. Now, if anybody doesn't know how to get to the blog, just go to databasics.com.au. You can see that up there on top of my browser, and from the front page of the website, you'll see that we can go to news blogs over there, and it's our most recent blog. Okay then, so here I go. This is a login screen to Flight. Now, the one automatic thing that you see here, and it's a part of the first point in the redesigned interface, is the transparent login screen. We've had lots of people give us feedback that they absolutely love that. And once we land into Flight here, you can see again, it's all been extensively rebranded, and that's going to be my first point. And it is the main target by Canto of the PHL release, was to totally redesigned the interface. So we can see a whole range of different features here. The actual branding we're going to pick up later on, but I'm going to just drill down into some of the specific capabilities of the Flight interface. What I'm going to do is just scan through those first half a dozen points or so. Then I'm going to jump off into settings, and I'm going to show you how you can manipulate them and apply them to your interface. So the first thing is the masonry view. So what is meant by masonry view is now that the thumbnails, and you can see this one here of the guy kicking the soccer ball, it's very broad, it's a landscape thumbnail compared to the image beside it, very portrait oriented, and how the masonry view shows images or assets is based upon their correct orientation. Now the masonry view is this icon here. The other icons, list view, gives us our standard list view like a spreadsheet. The thumbnail view is square thumbnails like all of Flight before PHL. Masonry view, and then we've got our geo view over there that has been featured in the past. Geo view, very exciting, gives you a map display, a Google map, and then it will show the actual locations or the geographic locations of the different assets. So that's the first thing, the masonry view. Then the next one is display all files. So when Flight was first released, we had half a dozen smart album icons at the top of the screen here. So you could display images or your videos or your audio, documents, presentations or others. Now Canto has added an all files one at the front, and you can see here that on my default display I'm getting a mix of different file types. So I've got images, I've got a document, I've got an audio file, I've got a video file, and I don't have a presentation, but basically all files just show all types of files. It's not selective for a particular file type. Then we get to the ability of different displays of the search results. So at the moment you can see that I've got my sort by date on, and you can see that I'm displaying content based upon the date. Now I'll explain a little bit further when we get into the settings which date field that is, but you can see as I scroll down the screen here that we've got our different dates being shown, next date down here, and that just helps you locate your content much faster. And if I go and do a search, so say if I search on red, my favorite key term over here, it is retrieving all of the content that somewhere has got the red word embedded in it. And you can see here that immediately it now displays different file types here. So again, I was just after images with red in it. So I can click on images and I'll just be seeing the images with red, or maybe not images, maybe I was after the audio files. So just show me the audio files and albums over here. So you can now, when you do a search, you can automatically get a display of all of the content by type. Now then, and you can see if I just click on the icon there, as I said before, we'll go and see all of the content displayed by date. Alrighty, now then, just to, now the next one over here is the folder and album organization over here on the left. So previously in Flight you were able to organize your content based upon alphabetically, and when you had it sorted alphabetically you could do it ascending or descending. You can now also organize by date of creation of the folder or the album, or you could organize it by type. So say if I, for example, go and open up my location album here, a folder here which has got both folders and albums, and swap around by type there. You can see, if I go into location here and then sort by type, you can see that I can swap around the sorting of the contents of the location folder and either have the album showing at the front or the folders showing at the front. It's really up to you. Now then, what I've got as my default is the custom sort. Now, custom sort allows you to drag and drop your folders and albums into the sequence that you want it to appear. To see that, you just click on where it says custom sort here, there, and you get a custom sort dialog like this. So maybe I want to have my location at the top, so I just select location and drag it up to the top. So now my location is going to sort up to the top. You can go into a folder, so let's go into location here and say, okay, I want to have Australia first, then New Zealand, Canada. Oh no, let's put Singapore after Canada. Good, okay. So that's set the sort order of the top level, the root level folders, and also when I go into location, it's set the custom sort order of the contents of the location folder. Okay, right, now then, and then as said before, overall the branding of the interface has been improved considerably, I think. And this is where I'm referring to the arrangement of the colours and the capability for you to determine where the colours will sit on your interface. So now, to recap on what I've just been talking about here, I'm now going to jump into my settings. So I go over to my, over here into the top right-hand corner and go and choose my settings menu option. When I go into settings, we're pretty much looking at the same interface that was released late in 2016 by Canto for the settings. And I'm then going to go into, first of all, into defaults. Now, defaults is where a lot of these settings now are shown. So the first thing that we can see, working from top to bottom, is the folder and album structure. This one here, the checkbox to display the folder and album, that's been in there for since early 2016, and that means that my folder and album structure will stay consistently there. If you don't want it to stay consistently there, some people like all of their root level folders or albums to show as iconically on the screen, you just turn that checkbox off. But the first thing there is that if you are displaying your folders and albums, you can now choose how they're going to be sorted. So I've chosen custom sort as my preferred order, so I can choose exactly how things are being sorted. Then straight underneath that here, we get to choose the default folder or album. In the past, it was you could choose either images, videos, audio, or whatever. Now we can choose the all file smart album, which is what I want to have when people first log in, so they see content of all different file types. You can see also down the bottom here, we can also choose to display the contents of a particular folder or album. So say, for example, I'll click on the select button that I wanted to display the contents of the location folder. I could select that, click the OK button, and that means that when somebody logs in to start off with, they will see the contents of the location folder as their starting point. Okay, now these little, just to let you know, interface options here, you can close a lot of these things. I'm just keeping the display on my window fairly consistent here. Right, somebody's asked me to speak up a little bit, so I'll just get the mic closer to my face. Which is the thumbnails or the list, whichever one that you choose there. And we can then also choose our custom sort order. Before it was a menu option there, so we can say that we automatically want it displayed by date. Now then, this date field, because there are a few different date fields or options within Flight, that is set in the next field down here. So if we go down to sort assets by date, you get to choose which date is being referred to here. So here I'm referring to the date modified as opposed to date uploaded, but that's really up to you. You can choose which one of these you want set. Then the last two defaults down here, add information on upload and time zone. We've seen these before. These are previous features of Flight, but just as a brief recap, selecting this means a pop-up display when you add content, getting you to fill in metadata, and of course time zone allows us to set it in Australian time zone. All good. Okay then, just going back to the main settings, and the other area that I want to go to now is branding. Branding controls the actual colors and the logo that is being set, the branding of the interface. So now this has gone through a radical change, as I said. We can start off as before, upload your logo here, that's all good. And then immediately underneath that, we then get to choose the colors. In previous versions of Flight, I think we had 3 different colors to choose. We've now got, I think I counted it the other day, 9 different locations to apply colors for Flight. Now then, we may run a separate blog just as a bit of a tutorial on this. Entre and I, Entre is our social media and marketing person, we spent a bit of time working through this, and we really came up with a process that worked well for us. And when we talked to Canto, this is how they had thought that it should be used. So I'll give you a quick rundown now, but just to let you know, we may do a more detailed blog on that. What you should do is go to the bottom section here where it says Themes Color Scheme. You should choose the color, the main color of your logo. So you can see, just looking at our logo up the top here, the DataBasics logo, I've chosen the darker blue that forms the word basics up here, okay? And what I did is I color picked that, so that's this number here, 0D67D6, and you basically put that into there. You can use this slider, you can use it and locate it yourself, but as we're doing branding, you probably want it to match your logo exactly, so you can copy and paste it there. You click the choose button, and then what will happen is that Flight will assign 4 colors. It will assign the color that you entered as this second from the bottom one. It'll assign 2 lighter ones working up towards white and 1 darker one. Okay, and when you set choose, it goes through and it'll apply the colors on those 9 different locations by some sort of default pattern that Canto has worked out. Now then, what we've found out is that you can do that, and lots of times it works perfectly. In our case, these 2 lighter blues were used for the buttons and the background up the top, and you couldn't see them clearly. So this is where you go into this top area here. Now if you just click the OK button there, and then in this little schema here, you can click on any component. So I think we went to the buttons themselves, and we reset the color to match one of the colors below exactly. So we set that to be the darkest color that we're using. And this allowed us to tweak the interface that Flight had chosen for us, and by that I think we came up with a very appealing design. Now then, on the branding area, just scrolling down, these are the things we've had before in Flight. You can set the title, the welcome text, the login background, nice lovely graphic there. The login box is either on or not, and that box will be the darker blue circle. If we turn that off, you just type in the name and password directly. We found that wasn't easily seen on our image that we'd chosen as the login background because it was quite bright, so that's why we left the login box there. And then, of course, the language there. All right, perfect. Okay, so that's covered off that first batch of things, just to go through that, the overall, the redesigned interface. Other things about the redesigned interface, there used to be a bar down the bottom and menus off there. One of the objectives from Canto was basically to reclaim a lot of the real estate, so they got rid of a lot of the menu bars, got rid of them, and tidied it up, made it very, very modern. And added the features that I showed, the all files, the masonry grid view, and some of the other features. Okay then, now then, moving right along here, so that takes us on the blog right through to the branding of interface. You can see as we've sort of shown that in the branding how we set those different colors. Right, and then down to the next major feature by Canto, which is workspaces. Okay then, So now then, I can ask everybody here, please let me know whether you have ever seen in your usage of a digital asset management system or in Flight, for example, the need to have a private area for collaboration as a sub-segment of your team. And this was really the requirement with, that a lot of users had come back to Canto with. I'm looking for some answers, people, so just type in an answer there to let me know whether you wanted that private area. And that's really what a workspace is all about. So if I just, from my interface, go to my menu up here and go to workspace here, it's a bit like going to a portal for those people who've used portals before, and you can see that I've got a single workspace set up. Now, the intention of this workspace is that Andre, Linda, myself, and one of the guys that works from our development team on the website, we're looking at a new website design. So we wanted a space within our Flight portal to collect the new graphics that we're looking at for this. We've been scanning different image libraries, downloading some examples. We want to collaborate with them, and at some time we will decide what are the graphics that we want for the website. But during that time, we don't want any other than the four of us to be looking at those graphics. We definitely don't want anybody else to get their hands on those graphics. And so we really wanted this, this private area set up within Flight. And that's what our workspace is. And here, it's like a subsegment of using Flight generally. You can just see that it has its own folders and albums over here, obviously got our own content, but otherwise all of the features are very similar. You can see as soon as we start selecting files here, the one other option you get here, over here, this arrow that points to the left, is to move your files into the main library. So as we purchase images, and the images that we choose for the website, we probably will choose not to release them to the main library because we don't want people reusing the website graphics in other collateral. The other images that we might purchase but reject for the website, we might move them over into the main library later on. Now then, I can see that some people have given me some good feedback here. I didn't run this as a poll. I probably, with a little bit of setup, I could have set this up as a poll, but I can see most of the people have logged in, that are logged in, have answered, and all but a couple of people are not sure. Most people says this sounds really good, and one person is saying they don't seem to have a workspace yet. No, of course you don't have a workspace. Workspace options are a payable option. So if you want to add workspaces to your Flight, let me know, and we'll do something like maybe talk to Canto, see if we can set you up with a trial so you can add a workspace to your portal for a month or something, give it a trial, and if you want to go ahead with it, it's a payable option that adds to your subscription. Alrighty, so here we're looking at my workspace. It's that private collaboration area. And I'll just go back to my main portal over here, go to my settings, and over here in my settings, and I will show you how you set up that workspace. So workspaces are at the bottom of the settings window, so just scrolling down here, and we can see the website graphics here, so I'll just select that. And you can see it's very simple. We give it a name. It sets up a URL slug for it. You don't really need to know that. It's a sort of technical thing. Description, and you can see that we've I set up a group. So we have a website team group within DataBasics. So I just made it available to that group, and that's really all I did. We could set up custom branding. So if you did want to brand it differently, you could do so. And other examples of using workspaces, you know, here I've used the example that within our staff, we've got a sub-segment that's working on a particular project. Another example of that is we're thinking of using this for when we do large proposals for customers or working on a project, we accumulate lots of documentation, and we could be setting that up in a workspace. So just the team members of that project have access to that workspace, and they can, and as an organizational thing, of course, because you can see here off the main interface, I can choose to go to a workspace and say if we had half a dozen workspaces that lists out there, and it just allows me to choose what content I want to look at a particular time. But also we don't want people outside of the team seeing those documents. That's another example of a workspace. Some very obvious ones is, say, if you're working with an external agency, you could set up a workspace for the external agency. You assign some user logins to the people from the agency, set them up to have access to the workspace. They can upload their content there. You can go into the workspace, you can review the content, do collaboration. When it's finished, you can then release it back up into the main portal. And obviously just about anything where you want to have a defined user base working with a subset of content, and some of that content may is to be held privately from the main Flight content. That's pretty much the definition of setting up a workspace. Alrighty, okay. Great. Now, the redesigned interface and the workspace were the two major objectives for Canto in this release of Flight. So that's good. Now then, moving straight along, we'll get to download presets. Okay, so I'm now going to just log out of my main portal and go to one of the portals that I've got set up, this one over here, and I'm going to first show you the end result of having these download presets. So here I log in, I'm logging in as a different user. This is a consumer, and you can see they're a consumer because they don't have access to settings or a whole lot of other sort of things. And these people are, this is like a portal to show out our general content. And this person wants to download this image here of our totem. And when they get to here, you can choose to see that they have access to only 2 different download types. And I've set up 2 that matches Facebook presets of either a cover photo or a profile picture. They can't download the original. They're going to get it with a watermark on it because I've set watermark against this portal. And these download presets, really they're there to predetermine the size of an image when it's downloaded off the off Flight to a particular audience. Now, and of course, this is displaying some of the general digital rights management here, such as the display of terms and conditions and the need to I agree to terms and conditions before you can click the download button. They're features from about mid-2016, but I just mentioned those for any of the new users of Flight out there. Alrighty. So how do you set that up? Okay, so I'll just jump out of that portal there, go back to my main login over here, and go back in. So this main login, I'm an administrator, and that gives me access to the settings. So off to the settings up here, and you can see that download presets is in the configuration options of the settings over here. And when we go into there, you can see setting up download presets is very simple. Now, I do know from conversation with Canto in the past few weeks that the download presets may well expand in capability in the not too distant future. The next release of Flight is set up for being in February. It's going to be named after London Heathrow. They're going out of America with their airport codes. But for the moment, with download presets, you basically set up a name, give it a description, and you set a width and a height. Okay. Once you've created those download presets, you go into a portal. So let's go into the general content portal down here. So if I choose general content here and look in the configuration permissions here, in configuration permissions, you can see besides control over what features are available within this portal, that we choose here in download, or whether they just get, the user just gets access to the original, or whether they go into the advanced options. And if they go into the advanced options, I can choose either the standard options, which gives them like a dialog box to edit the graphic themselves, which is been a feature of Flight for about a year, or just get those presets. So that's this radio button here. If I choose those presets, there is then a checkbox to allow them to download the original or not. So if you remember, my target was to create a portal where people would not be able to download the original. They would need to download a preset. So I've gone to advanced download options, selected the presets, turned off the checkbox for allow download of original, and that way my users only get to download from the download presets that I've set up. Very good for controlling how content is going to be consumed from within Flight. Somebody's asked, Dean's asked, are there any presets? No, we just set them up as you go. So as said, it's a really simple thing. Lost that over here in download presets. You just really type in a name, the description, the width and the height in pixels, and click the add button. Right? It's as simple as that. And once you've set up those download presets, you just go through the setup I've shown you for a portal to have them controlled onto a particular portal. And of course, if anybody's having trouble with any of these features, just let me know. Just let the customer care team or myself know, and we can help you out. Okay, moving straight along. Branding of emails. Now then, this actually happens just straight out of the box. So from now on, when you go to any of your content and you do anything that sends out an email, and so the simplest thing to give an example of that is to click on the share icon under an asset. There are several other things that send out email notifications, and you go via to send an email. When this email is sent, the email that is received will automatically inherit the logo that you've set up for the portal that you're working in. Now then, an interesting thing here, it's actually not on our blog as a list. I just noticed when I was rehearsing for this yesterday. It's this one here, Enable Advanced Download Options. So now, if you have that selected, the download options that somebody then gets when they receive the email is inherited from the portal that it's been sent out from. Okay, a little bit complex statement. Very simply, that means that when a user shares something out from Flight, if they have been limited, such as I, with my download presets, set up my users to only have those 2 Facebook download types, they will be limited to only sending out those 2 Facebook types. Okay, so that's just to stop the backdoor thing of some being able to work around those limited download presets. All right, okay, so that's branding of emails. Automatically happens. Every email now sent out from Flight will display your logo in the top of the email. Now, a couple other things, branding of login page. Okay, then we've seen this already. There's an option to display. If I just log out again. That's this login page here. Whether you want the grey box to display or not, we chose to have it mainly because this white text on the very light image that we had there didn't look that good. And it gives you a transparent look, and it just improves the first view of Flight that somebody has, which for your users is very important. You want to pass on the love to them. Okay, right. Now then. Next item in the blog is working through defaults. I've gone through most of them already when I first went into the new interface, and I showed you where the defaults are. That's the biggest expansion in the settings other than the workspaces. And then there's just a couple other options here to clean up the last features now. Filtering. So previously, over on the left-hand side, you could swap around your folder and albums for a view of the filters. That is now over here on the right, and it's directly underneath the main user menu here, filter. Right, so when you choose filter, you'll see that you get all of the different filters displayed straight underneath there. So, you know, and slightly different way that it works. So, say if I want to filter based upon a keyword, I just want all of the red ones. I just click on red. Okay, that's just displaying all of my assets that match the red keyword. I can clear that. I can use the little triangle there to drag that down. Now, one thing that a lot of people has responded, and it's part of why Canto put the filter over there, made it more available, is that say in tags, there's this search ahead. So a lot of people, and I don't think you see this when I do the do a webinar. So just people tell me via the question, can you now see as I type in some letters here, so I've typed in LI, I've now got a drop-down menu. I don't think you do see that via the webinar screen. It's a limit of GoToWebinar. But the point is that it's doing type ahead. So I've now got a list of around about 10 different words, everywhere from lifestyle to light bulb to lights to limestone to liquid crystal to literal to living room. And these are words that have been indexed by Flight. So a lot of people ask, is there any type ahead in the search capability? And yes, that appears under the tags, right? So say if I want to get limestone and hit my return key, we now get assets with the limestone word in it. And I never knew we had limestone there, but there we go. Right. Right, it does display. Right, great. Okay, fabulous. I need to ask people because, of course, I'm not watching the webinar. Okay, then. You can also see with tags, you can just choose, deselect this one here and choose one. You know, these are just recently selected tags that you might have used, so that's really easy to search on. And clear that, drop that down. So you can see all of the other field types that you used to be able to search on the filter on the left-hand side. They're now over here on the right side, so nothing has gone away, just made a little bit closer to your fingertips and easier to get into there. Okay, great. Now then, the bulk options. All right, so this is a part, remember I said when we said we redesigned the interface, we got rid of a lot of the menus, reclaimed a lot of the screen. So for example, when I use Flight on my my iPad, I've got access to a lot more content now, which is really good. Now, a part of that is that, say, some of those menus, so as soon as I select an asset, you can see I'm just clicking on that tick in the top right-hand corner. As soon as I select an asset, I then get the bulk options menus appearing up here. So, you know, this is where Flight's thinking, the guy's selecting some content, so we need to give them options for what they want to do. So I might want to do share, or I might want to follow, or add this to my collections, or download, or put into cold storage, or heaven forbid, delete. And of course, edit here. So, you know, I can choose a few assets like this. I've just selected 3. And I can click the edit button up here. Everybody wants to know how to edit in bulk. And when I do that, I get the edit content, and I can now edit the metadata of all those 4 assets in one go, right? So that just makes it a lot easier to use, a lot more pleasing visually, and a lot more practical because we've reclaimed a lot of the screen space. And just to deselect things here, just click the select all button twice. You've deselected things and you've gone back to a default display. The other option here, anytime, just click on the logo there, and that basically returns you to your main dashboard here. Okay then, very close to the end, folder and album management. So yes, agreed, previous versions of Flight, a little bit circuitous, knowing how to do things with your folders and albums. So now, if I just click on a folder over here on the left, you see I have icons down here underneath it, which allow me to add an album, add a folder, rename this one, or go into the detail information about this. Now then, that's just an interface thing to make access to that editing of folders and albums easier. Now, one thing it has done is that not many people understood that we could look at the information about an album or a folder. And now that we can, so I've gone to the details about my location folder, now besides giving it a description, so you can search on it. Doing a comment, so sharing that with somebody else and saying this is the album or folder to have a look at. You can also choose to download all of the content there at one time, and you can also set up permissions over here. Now, all of this we've been able to do for for a good year or so. It was just getting to this screen was a little bit circuitous, but now with the new PHL, the Philly version of Flight, you can get to that information screen much easier for both folders and albums, so you can get access to all of these different options, which I think is really good. Okay, then finally, okay, just going back to my defaults here, metadata. So this I know I deal with Canto quite a bit, and there was a lot of heartache about how to do this. And again, we want to maximize the use of screen space, make Flight simple and easy to use. So you click on an icon, right? Okay, what do most people want to happen when an icon is clicked on? Mostly they want to see a preview. Also, they want to see a display of metadata. So we've sort of given them both here, hopefully. You can go and get the metadata, the preview. You can move left to right and actually look at different thumbnails of different content here. I'll just go back to my totem one here. And on the right, you can see that we're looking at the basic metadata. So we see the file name, the description, the keywords, the tags that have been displayed. And then down here, we've got buttons for all of the different areas. So we can see, okay, then what's the status of this one? So we go directly to the status and the expiry date. What's the digital rights management of this? Okay, so terms and conditions, copyright, watermark. Okay, good. Has this got any related file? Let's look at the comments on this so we can see the different comments that have been applied. So we can have access to the metadata much faster, as well as seeing the preview. And if you want to return to a display entirely of the metadata, go to that button up the top with the arrow pointing down, and you get all of the metadata in one screen here. And you can scroll around and look at that just like you used to in any previous version of Flight. Excellent, excellent. Okay then. Right, so 10:43, pretty much on time now then. Any questions from anybody? Please do ask. As said, if you do have any issues about using the new Flight interface, or I can see several people are from new customers having a look at Flight maybe for the first time, do pop through an email to me. You can also email support@databasics.com.au. Go to our customer care desk and they can help you out. We are here to help. Just checking if anybody's going to send any more questions. And okay then, yes. There was a question here just about turning the masonry view on. So I've gone to settings, I've gone into defaults, and you can see this is this one here, straight in front of you there. You can go to the content display and you can choose that you want Flight to automatically show the masonry grid, and that will apply to any content that you share out. So any of the settings, the defaults that you apply to the main interface, when you do something like share some content out or something like that, people receiving that content will inherit those settings as well. Alrighty, okay, great. Well, thank you very much for attending. As said, this is our first webinar of 2017 on Flight. We expect to run 2 more webinars this quarter, as we usually do. One is going to be on digital asset management for the fast-moving consumer goods marketplace. It's a specific area of retail. We're finding more and more customers are interested in digital asset management in this space. And also perhaps one on the uploader application that we've just created and released for Cumulus. So in the meantime, again, I'd like to say thank you very much for attending. Look forward to hearing from you all in person, as I like to catch up with people. And do send us any feedback at any time. Okay, so thank you again, and we hope you have a great time looking at the new Canto Flight PHL interface. Thank you. Bye.